I'm Carol. 2 things about me. 1, I love Christmas. Christmas! It's Christmas! It's Christmas! It's almost Christmas time! And 2, I love Christmas so much, I actually have 2 trees. Maybe you decorate a tree kind of like this, but my other one may be new to you. This is a family tree. Do you ever visit family for Christmas, but you don't know how you're related to everyone? A family tree is a way of explaining that. This one is Jesus' family tree. He's God's son. When we celebrate Christmas, we celebrate that Jesus was born to a human family to save everyone from the sin that separates us from God. This ornament represents Abraham, who's pretty much the beginning of Jesus' family. This ornament represents a woman named Ruth, who was faithful to God and to others. She and her husband Boaz had a son named Obed. And Obed became the father of Jesse and the grandfather of Jesse's son, David. David was the youngest of Jesse's many sons, which is why it was surprising that he was picked to be Israel's king. God chose him because God sees beyond what we see. Here's how it happened. The king at that time was Saul. He looked like a good king, tall and regal, but he wasn't. He disobeyed God. Since God saw the big picture, he told the prophet Samuel to go to Bethlehem and find Jesse because one of his sons would be anointed the new king. Anointing someone is when you pour oil on their head as a way to say there is a special job God has for that person. Ooh, now I can make it snow inside. So one by one, Jesse's sons appeared before Samuel, but God told him none of them were going to be the new king. So Jesse sent for David. David wasn't as tall or as strong as his brothers, but he's the one God picked to be anointed. God saw David's heart and knew David loved God, and that's more important than strength or size. A few years later, David became the new king of Israel. He loved God with his whole heart, and he was a good leader. He was actually the greatest king Israel had ever known. There were a lot of bad kings after him who turned their backs on God, so Israel was divided into 2 different kingdoms. The Israelites would often wander from God, but God kept showing them mercy. Perfect! Only 947 more to go! 200 years after King David, the enemies of God's people were closing in. And it seemed like the end of David and Jesse's family line, the line that started all the way back with Abraham. But God spoke through a prophet named Isaiah. Jesse's family is like a tree that has been cut down. A new little tree will grow from its stump. From its roots, a branch will grow and produce fruit. That means even though it looked bad for God's special family, God wasn't ready for the family tree to end. God's people didn't need to be afraid because God made a promise that his people would not be destroyed. Remember, God sees beyond what we see. He knew that 1,000 years later, Jesus would be born in Bethlehem, King David's hometown. He knew that Jesus would bring peace to the whole world forever. God saw beyond what all the people of Israel could see. God looked at their family tree and saw Jesus, our King, forever. God sees beyond what we see. I'm almost done with my snowflakes, but I'm nowhere near done decorating this tree. So come back and find out who else is in Jesus' family. Bye!